Hey guys, welcome back to ArxangelRC. Today I will be making a slight dip into copters again, but it is for a good reason, because this toy is actually pretty impressive for the $50 price tag. I'm talking about the Visuo Wi-Fi 720p recording foldable copter that also has an altitude hold feature. Links as usual are in the video description below. Many people went ahead and attached the phrase Mavic clone to the Visuo. Come on guys, get real, or do you need to be reminded what the word clone means? The Visuo doesn't even come close to being a Mavic anything. Yes, it may resemble the Mavic design, but I will only go as far as to say that its design may be Mavic inspired, but will go no further because this is where the similarities end. Well, and of course the fact that both are foldable copters and both can record and transmit video in real time. But that's about it. Saying the Visuo is a clone of the Mavic is like saying that the 1960 Eastern German-made Trabant 601 limousine is a clone of the 1960 Rolls-Royce Phantom. You know, they both run on fuel, both have four wheels, they're basically the same car. I can only imagine what those ads for the Trabant were like back then. Come and buy the new Trabant limousine. It has got roughly the shape of a Rolls-Royce, so it's basically the same car, but at a fraction of the cost. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? That's because it is. I understand the desire to attract attention by calling it a Mavic clone, but I'd be more worried about the hordes of disappointed people when they found out that they're still a few decades away from owning a real Mavic for 50 bucks. Anyway, enough messing around, let's get back on track. In reality, the Visuo is an impressive drone for the price they're asking. It doesn't offer any new and shocking features, but what good old tricks it can do them much better than anything I've seen before. Take the Elfie drone for instance. When it was released it cost around $50 and it had Wi-Fi control and video streaming with a range of about 20 meters and very dodgy controls. A year later the Visuo comes along and it has Wi-Fi control and video streaming, but the range is 150 meters or possibly a bit more. That is a shocking increase in range for pretty much no increase in price. In addition, the Visuo can record 720p on a micro SD card and has a really nice remote control unit, which makes flying the drone a breeze, especially compared to the Elfie. Pretty impressive stuff for a cheap toy. What is more surprising is that all of this works. True, I tested it initially in a very RF interference-free environment, but because I made the mistake to put an NTFS formatted SD card in it, it didn't record any of the flights I did, so all of the onboard footage is from a different day. So make sure you use a FAT32 formatted micro SD card to avoid making the same mistake as me. The copter is actually pretty agile, so flips are not an issue for it. If you're going to fly outdoors, you would want to press the speed button 1 or 2 times in order to increase the rates. This will allow you to fly in windy weather as well, like I did, and it handles that pretty well, although you will have to fight it in that situation as it is constantly being moved around with the wind on account of it being so light. The basic default rates are probably only for indoor flying, where I'd suggest you also mount the prop guards on for added safety. So being outdoor, I felt I don't need to mount the prop guards, but rather went on and did some range tests. Like I already mentioned, the live video stream to my tablet was impressive both in terms of quality and distance. I left the tablet on the table and flew the copter into the distance, and at some point I think it auto-landed, which meant that it probably lost link with the controller, but that was at least 100 meters away. Later, I left the copter on the table and started walking away, tablet in hand, and to my surprise I was able to see myself moving at a pretty impressive distance. Google Maps claims that it was around 150 meters, and that is with the copter set on a low table and myself between it and the tablet. That is seriously impressive. There was no lag or artifacts in the video, just a slowly fading Wi-Fi signal, but with perfect picture quality throughout. When at last the link was lost, the image just froze, and when I started walking back and it regained the signal, the image just started moving again. Very impressive. But when you think about it, Wi-Fi modules cost next to nothing nowadays, and all it takes is some decent programming to make them work well. It is astonishing how quickly technology is changing and developing. The onboard recorded video is not bad at all, with some nice colors and an okay bitrate for a toy, but don't expect miracles. There are some vibrations in the video and it shakes a bit because the camera is not stabilized, but you're not going to film Hollywood productions with this one, so I would say it's pretty damn good for the money. You can always try to balance the props to get rid of those vibrations. It should be possible. With a bit of practice, a beginner will get the hang of it pretty quickly in order to be able to position it and hold it in place in the wind for a droney. The altitude hold feature of the Visuo would definitely help, as it removes one thing you need to worry about trying to maintain altitude in addition to position. Having to deal only with position makes things much simpler. Not having a position hold actually makes this drone very suitable for learning, because you will get the necessary skills and reactions to hold it in place yourself. In essence, you will be better than those guys flying the Mavic around. They can't really fly a drone, they're just moving around a flying camera on autopilot. But if your ultimate goal is the Mavic, the Visuo is definitely a very good place to start, especially if you have no prior experience flying a copter. When it comes to flying times, I was surprised how long it was able to fly, especially when you consider that the onboard camera was also recording. I would say a good 6 to 7 minutes at least are possible. When the battery gets low, the copter will auto land, and when you crash it into something, it actually senses that and disarms the motors automatically to save the props and gears. However, the provided charger is very slow to charge the battery back to full, taking almost 2 hours to do so. My advice would be to get a few spare batteries when they become available. The controller takes 3 AA batteries, so make sure you have those handy when you get the copter. It also has an integrated smartphone holder, so you can conveniently watch the video while flying. Problem is, my phone turned out to be a tad large for this, and also when you put it down it will fall back because the phone is heavier than the controller. Not a big deal for me, since I was not able to get the XSW UFO app to show me the video from the copter on my smartphone, but it worked on my tablet. I guess a 5-inch or smaller phone would be optimal to mount there, otherwise just put it somewhere convenient to see and just fly. So, is the Visuo a Mavic clone? Absolutely not. But is it good for what it is and what it costs? Absolutely yes. Wi-Fi video streaming works to amazing distances. It can climb high, go far, it can do flips, it can record 720p video on board, and it is foldable. The headless mode and return to home modes, meh. I've never been able to figure out exactly how they are supposed to work, so I never bother using them, but they are available for those who want to try them out. The auto takeoff, land and emergency motor stop features work well, and the latter can help you save a prop or a gear in a crash, but you have to be quick to press it before the copter hits that wall. And there you have it, the Visuo foldable drone with 720p recording and an altitude hold function. Is this the right drone for you? I have no idea, that is up to you to decide. But from my perspective, this one brings some serious improvements to the toy level copters and is a stepping stone to great and cheap stuff that is to come. Any questions you can leave in the comments below and I will try to answer as best as I can. Also, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to my channel. If you have liked any of the products featured in this video, please consider supporting this channel by buying them via the links in the description below. Happy droning, and I will see you next time.